who has Down syndrome. She was 2.5 years old before we found Relive, and at that point, she wasn't walking, she wasn't talking, and she was sick all the time. She had chronic upper respiratory infections that would send us to the emergency room for breathing treatments, and when we weren't at the emergency room, we were at the doctor's office for 2 or 3 rounds of antibiotics. It just seemed like she was sick all the time. And on top of being sick all the time, she had the developmental delays that are associated with Down syndrome. The teachers and therapists that we were working with through our early intervention program told me that she would need to be placed in a dedicated special education classroom. Their expectations for her were very low. They didn't feel like she would have very many skills or very many educational opportunities. But we went against their advice and we placed Amy in a regular kindergarten classroom. At that point, we'd been on Relive products for almost a year. And after 6 weeks of school, the special education support teacher caught me in the hallway and said, "Mrs. Clegg, we have to talk." Now, my heart just skipped a beat because I was very anxious about what that teacher had to say. But what she said was, Amy, during the first 6 weeks of school, had accomplished all of the goals that they had set for the year in the first 6 weeks. And so we needed to meet again to make up some new goals for her that would keep her busy for the rest of the school year. That was amazing. She is doing so well in school. She's in a regular classroom for 3rd grade now. And she has still, of course, she has Down syndrome, but she's doing so much better than anyone ever expected her to be doing. I have to tell you about the first day that we added the LunaRich X capsules. We added them to her shake in the morning and then sent her off to school. Didn't really know what to expect because they were brand new at that point. And the speech therapist caught me in the parking lot of the school at the end of the day. And she said, "You're doing those shakes, right?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "What did you do different today?" Because today, during speech therapy, Amy was much more talkative. Her speech was clearer and easier to understand. And that was just the first day on the LunaRich X capsules. Isn't that amazing?
Oh my goodness, Esther, that is absolutely amazing. Wow. You know, and it's just extra validation when you may be noticing things, but when somebody else notices things, well,
Yeah.
you know that's pretty serious. So, wow, that is a incredible story. I get to see Amy a lot. Just watched her grow, and oh my goodness, I remember maybe it was last year that this adorable little, how old was she, 5, 6 years old, was teaching everybody on a Tuesday night meeting how to knit. she's just such a sweet girl, and I know Relive has just changed her whole world. But Esther, and I know it doesn't stop with that, because there was something that really affected you pretty seriously, and really changed your outlook on life and how you felt. So would you share what happened with you as well?
I will. You know, when we started on the products, we did it mostly for Amy. But my husband said, you know, if we're going to have her drinking these shakes, we need to probably be doing it too. And I wasn't really expecting anything. I don't smoke or drink. I felt like I was fairly healthy. But the one thing that was really bothering me for my whole adult life was that I had rosacea on my face. Now, rosacea looks like a really bad sunburn or a bad acne breakout on my nose and my chin. I tried antibiotics, I tried gels, I tried creams, I tried concealers, I tried, makeup, I tried powder. There was just really nothing that I could do that would cover it up or medicine that would get rid of it. It was just something that I lived with for years and years and years. I was very self-conscious. I didn't like getting my picture taken. I didn't like looking in the mirror. I had a very short haircut so that when I got out of the shower, I just ran a comb through my hair so that I didn't have to spend time looking in the mirror at my face. I was very self-conscious about my appearance. After being on the Relive products for about 3 months, I noticed that my skin was clear. There were no red bumps. There was no redness. My skin was clear and smooth, and my skin was healing from the inside out, which is the way it really needed to heal. And my skin has been clear. I'm not as self-confident, not as self-conscious anymore. I have confidence, and I just love sharing Relive.
Oh, my goodness. And you know what, Esther, I remember you when you first got started in Relive, and I, think back to those days, and I think about, where you are now. First of all, you look beautiful. You always say to me, but your skin is beautiful. And the other thing, too, is you've, as all these changes has happened in your life with Relive, and you've gone out there and shared, and I have just seen you just become so confident, and you've just blossomed over the years, and it's just such a joy to know you, Esther.
Well,
I know you're going to change a lot of people's lives. So thank you.
We've shared this, and the first month we made $250. We continue to share with everybody that will listen. We earn a check every month, and it's really been a blessing for me because it allows me to be home and take care of Amy the way that with the extra things that we need to do for her, and I love doing the business just as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Esther. It was great to have you on.
Thanks.
I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer in December of 2010, and so I spent almost the entire next year going through the traditional treatments. In hindsight, had I known then what I know now, I'm quite sure I would have never chosen to do the chemo or the radiation because there's a lot of really bad side effects. Anyway, about 2 months after I had finished the traditional treatment, a friend of mine connected with me. She heard through a mutual friend that I had the cancer. And it's interesting it happened at that time because I was about to start doing a lot of research into nutrition because I did understand that nutrition was going to be the key to my health. And out of the blue, I get this call from this lady, and she told me about Relive, and that was such a blessing. And I got on the products immediately thereafter. And back then, we did not have the Luna Rich X capsules. So I started taking 6 shakes a day, and I just flooded my body with these products. And I continued to do that. The radiologist told me that I would probably be experiencing severe fatigue for up to a year. I never experienced any of that at all. About 2 months into taking the products, I was walking along and I suddenly felt I had this really severe pain in my right knee, and I thought it was bursitis. I just kind of kept ignoring it until I couldn't anymore. So finally I went in and I had an MRI done, and the doctor told me that I had a meniscus tear and that I would probably need surgery. And I didn't want to do that, but so I got a second opinion, and that orthopedic doctor told me that there was something probably else going on based on the pain I was experiencing. Perhaps I had a pinched nerve in my lower back, and I told them about all the radiation I had. So we did a second MRI, and it turns out that I had a stress fracture in my right hip that was caused by that radiation, and somehow it was shooting down my leg and adding to the pain of the meniscus tear. So the person who put me on the products suggested that I add one more of the Relive products in, which I did. And 4 weeks later, the pain in my right knee went away. I've never had surgery. The pain has never come back. And the really odd thing is that the orthopedic doctor said that meniscus tears do not heal because there's no blood supply. So so go figure that one out. Anyway, I've continued on these products regarding the cancer. My oncologist wanted me to go in every 3 months for CAT scans, and I refused to do that because I didn't want to be exposed to any more radiation. So instead, I would do blood work every 3 months. And for the type of cancer that I had, 35 was kind of the magic number. And my numbers were always single digit. They ranged anywhere from 7.9 to about 9.8. And so my blood work was just great, and I felt good the whole time. It's been 5 years now. My oncologist has fired me. I saw her for the last time in January. And so because of these products, I mean, I just feel good. I know they've built up my immune system. If you've got something like cancer, it's going to come back unless you change something. And because of the Luna Rich X and the great nutrition, I have no fear of this stuff coming back, and so I'm a lifer.
Wow. Wow. What an amazing story. And, you know, I know, Pat, we had kind of talked a little bit more in depth maybe last week or so. And, you know, you were telling me a little bit just about all the horrible things that people, you know, can go through chemo and radiation. And, you know, you can experience that for quite a while, if not permanently. And thank goodness those have just not been on your plate. And I know you are great. You are so grateful that somebody came and told you about Relive.
I am, and I will share with people too. Because you just can't not do it.
You know what? Absolutely. There's so most people feel that way. They just end up feeling that it's almost like a moral obligation. You've seen what it's done, and it's like, how can you not tell somebody when you see what has happened? So, Pat, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's a great and inspiring story. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
And before I introduce the next speaker, I just want to say that Relive does not claim to cure anything. What Relive is just the best nutrition possible, and when you put that good nutrition in your body starts to know what to do to repair itself. It's your body that's the miracle. So, well, they're right up there with the helping the top amount of people in this entire company. And I thought I loved her tons, and then I was invited to her house, maybe a year or two ago, and she showed me that she had a special closet just for jewelry and accessories and handbags. And I thought, oh my goodness, Betty is special. I love her to pieces. So Betty, you and Phil have created an amazing business on what these have done, these products have done for people. And if you could just come on and share, and what an honor it is to have you on. Thank you for taking your time and sharing for us.
It's great to be on. It was just a joy to hear the stories tonight on the phone, and what an encouragement, what a blessing to hear everybody's story. You just never know what's around the corner, who's going to stop and introduce you to something. And a dear friend of mine introduced us to Relive, 22 years ago. And, little did anyone in that room that day know how miserable my husband was with his job. And so we were introduced to Relive. At first, she was so excited. She was getting great results with her fibromyalgia. And she was always having, she struggled so much with health issues. And somebody at her church introduced her to Relive. And it was, many of you know Joe and Carol Felder. It was Joe and Carol that introduced her. And we were there visiting in Chicago that weekend. And she was so excited, you couldn't help but want to try the product. And even though at the time I'm physically fine, but I was going through menopause, and when she said she was sleeping through the night and had energy, I thought, bingo, maybe this stuff would help me. And, she was a fairly new distributor, and she invited the couple over that introduced it to her, which was Joe and Carol, and they sat down with us, and they kind of shared the whole Relive story with us, not only some of the health benefits that they experienced being on the products, but one of the reasons why they got into the business. And as they began to share their story, my husband's eyes got bigger and bigger, and this was exactly what he was looking for. My husband had been in upper management for 30 years, and the last 5 years of his career was very, very stressful. It was a situation that he knew he needed to quit. It was just not a good situation, but The problem was he was 58 years old. And when you are at that age and you walk out of a position that he had, it's very difficult to find another position at his age, earning the kind of income that he was used to earning. But I have to tell you that my husband got to the point where he was really stressed out. He didn't want to manage people anymore, and he didn't want to be reporting to a company president anymore. He really wanted to build something on his own. He just didn't want to have all the ties to management. And two things that were going for my husband. One, he believed in the concept of network marketing, but he also believed in nutrition because he was the only one in our whole family that ever took vitamins. And he was a healthy guy, always believed in the importance of supplementing. And so when they shared that marketing plan, my husband actually signed up as a distributor before he even tasted the products. Number one, he'd never seen a product like this on the market. We sat there and realized that, oh, my goodness, these products have patents on them, which told us, well, gee, a company to take the time to get a patent on a food supplement like this, seemed to be pretty beyond their, kind of ahead of the game, so to speak. And the fact that they manufacture their own products. There was just so many positive things that they shared that evening, but especially when they said they were making $8,000 a month. That really caught my attention. But as he signed up, I want everyone to know on the call that our need at that time was more financial than it was physical, even though when we got started on the products, our whole family saw amazing changes. Our 14-year-old son suffered with severe headaches due to low blood sugar problems, and John was probably on the product a month and came up to me and said, Mom, you know what, I don't get those headaches anymore. I would say maybe 3 months, 3.5 months into it, my mood swings I didn't have them. I mean, people still think I have mood swings. But anyway, but after 22 years, but when I was sleeping through the night, I had more stamina, energy, and all the things that you hear when people start on these products. But, we had this financial need. We needed to build a business because Phil, my husband and this company president, they were not seeing eye to eye. And we knew that he'd probably get fired. He was waiting to get fired because at least he'd get a severance package. But what happened during the 6 months we were taking the products, Joe and Carol began to introduce us to people over the telephone. I was very nervous about this business. I was used to my husband earning a salary, a good income. I never really had to work. I was raising our 2 sons. And the thought of us at our age starting out in something like this was just scary for me. But the stories encouraged me. They just gave me a lot of hope. And the more stories I heard, the more it began to speak to my heart that, this was a good thing. And many thoughts came to my mind. I believe in God. And I can remember going to that first conference and realizing, that every good thing is from above. And I realized, this product was good. This business opportunity was good. And it was really at that conference that I realized that fear was really holding me back. And as I began to deal with some of those issues, I got on board with my husband and we went to work. And I was so grateful that they had a business model to follow and that our sponsors actually came alongside and trained us and went to work with us. And that's what I love about our business opportunity is that even though you're in business for yourself, there's a business model to follow and people are willing to come alongside and to train you and to teach you and go to work with you. And, I went to my best friends. I went to the people I loved and I cared about. I mean, why would you not? I mean, after you hear stories like this tonight, when you hear these incredible stories, it's like you do know in your heart that you want everybody on these products. Within 6 months, we were earning over $4,000 a month in our override check. And 14 months, that override check jumped between $8,000 and $10,000 a month. The second year, it doubled and it tripled. It just getting bigger. But, we had a serious need in our life. We needed to replace Phil's income because during that 6 months that we were taking the products, Phil got fired. He was excited. I tease about having a panic attack. I don't know what they are, but I think I had one. And it was like, oh, I guess we better go to work. And that's what the conference did. Those stories and the encouragement from everybody just thought, you know what? These people are building this in Chicago. They're building it in Atlanta. People are going to build it in the state of Michigan. And none of my friends had ever heard about it. And so we went to work. And we're just really grateful because of this business. During the time that we started, we had no money put aside for college. And in our country, as you know, we pay for our schooling. And because of this business opportunity, our children got to pick out private colleges, no student loans, no debt whatsoever. So it was really answered prayer for our family, and it's given us a lifestyle and travel and working together. And I always tease about that. Yeah, we still work together. We didn't get divorced. Some people that work together, they don't get along very well, but Phil and I we get along great. And so it's just been an incredible, incredible journey. And I'm excited for those that share their story today because, you know, you can just tell from their heart, they know they found a good thing. And it's pretty easy to share with somebody that you care about, people you don't even know, that this is a good thing. These are great products, and it's an incredible business opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Betty, you said something, and just want to touch on that for a second because I think it's so poignant. And a lot of people there maybe have some trepidation about approaching people or connecting them on stories. But you know what? A lot of that it really stems from our own personal fear and our own baggage. Do you want to expand on that just a little bit about the fear and how one works?
I did, yeah. Well, yeah. When we got started in the business, I have to share with you that I was very afraid to call my friends. I had these thoughts that, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm trying to sell them something. And of course we are. But I mean, I just had those thoughts constantly, these negative thoughts. I had fear about what my friends were going to think about me being in a business like this. But I have to share that the more stories I heard, the more confident I became. Because it was almost like something began to click in my mind and in my heart. Well, why wouldn't I want to tell somebody about it? And you know, when you're new, it's in the doing and it's in the stepping out and making those calls that you begin to become more and more confident. And you know, just like anything that's new, there's a learning curve. And the learning curve in our business is that wall of belief, that confidence. I didn't have it in the beginning, but I have to tell you that our sponsors were very, very confident. Kind of like when you talk to Leslie and Joni on the call, they are so confident what they have a hold of. Well, they've been in it longer than you. And the more people you get on these products and the more you're involved and the more you're stepping out of your comfort zone, the more and more confident you become. But we all go through that. I know, I'm sure Joni did. Sometimes you get in and think, well, I have to know all the details. I have to, can I read a book? Do I have to know everything that's in this product? And I learned very, very early, you know what? It's the stories that's going to build the business. It doesn't matter how much knowledge I have. And then I began to, as you begin to think of people, you got to start, you begin to think about what is their need? What do they have a need? Ours was financial. And, you've got friends that complain and maybe they suffer with migraines. And when my friends suffered, I said, you know what? You just need to hear a couple of these stories. I could tell you till I'm blue in the face, but I don't suffer with anything. But I want you to meet some people that do. And, when I began to learn how to do that in a really just in an easy, casual way, my friends got on those calls. Because I know that those calls are the ones that's going to give people encouragement, give them hope. It did for me. It gave me that hope. And so, but we all have to overcome those. But the more you're involved, the more you're around these positive people. I have to tell you, the first conference we went to, I remember sitting there thinking, I really like these people. I like being with, they're fun. I like being with these people. And that's the great thing about our realtor business is that we're all focused, going in the same direction, and we're all willing to help each other. And when I would get a negative response from a friend or a relative, I thought, you know what, that's okay. Timing is everything. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to let those negative things defeat me because I want to tell you what, fear will rob you of joy. And fear, I read one time in a book that we are driven by 1,000 forms of fear. And I thought, oh my gosh, sometimes you don't even realize it. And, but because of the encouragement of the other distributors, I could get down or discouraged if maybe somebody said no to me. I could get on a story call, and I'm telling you, it would lift my spirits up so much I'd get upset. Why am I these products are working. Why am I listening to these negative people out there? So we all have to overcome those things, especially when you're new, or you get your feelings hurt because it's your best friend and they won't get on the product, and you want to help them. You know they're sick, but you know what? I just thought, well, she's not paying my bills. I got to get out there. I got to get out there and go to work. So, anyway.
Absolutely. Well, Betty, you are such an encouragement to. Sorry, one sec.